Good morning. The recording is on. Today is Monday, November 9th, 2020. This is the Loving What Separates Us course. I'm Stephen Wynn. This is a course sponsored by I Am Heart. It's a wonderful spiritual school that teaches the path of the heart. And in this school, we teach there are 9 stages of the development of our heart. First 3 deal with the mind and then the heart itself, the emotional body. And then 3 steps or 3 stages of spiritual development. And the process we take is to go through these 9 steps and allow the opening of our hearts with the fullest spiritual expression. So it looks like former Vice President Joe Biden has been picked as the president-elect. He's handling that very graciously in his calls for national unity. Speaks well of his vision for leadership. I'm very happy with that. Of course, not so happy on the Trump side. They're contesting the election. I don't know what the probability of that going anywhere is, but certainly that's his right. And we're starting to see it's just a minority, so I trust it'll stay that way, of wanting to punish the right, wanting to punish those who support Trump. And I hope that remains just a minority voice, and that Vice President Biden's voice of unity and harmony prevails. So this last week, a little over the last week, we went through what I refer to as the 3 temptations, these 3 basic drives, patterns, or programs in the first 3 chakras. And wanting safety and security, wanting to be loved, wanting to be heard, and wanting power, wanting control. Really the lacking feeling in all of these. It is that the temptation is, oh, I can be done with that. I can finally get enough love and approval. I can finally feel safe enough. I can finally have control. So the rest of this week, we'll continue going through various energetic centers in our body, pulling in the flavor of what's going on in the world. And the heart, of course, we always work with the heart. Really, we want to explore all these other energy centers, all these other chakras through the heart, which is the center of our energetic body. It's a very safe way to explore them, a very pure way. We always want the heart to be leading, the purity of our heart to be the force that opens up these other energy centers. And of course, I mentioned, I don't know how many of you get my emails every morning. If you're wanting to be getting them and you're not, you can go to healingtheheartofamerica.org and sign up. But I mentioned that to open the heart, a great deal of self-love is required. A great deal of self-love, or we could say a sense of self-worth. As long as we're feeling unworthy, as long as we can't love ourselves, we don't have any love to give and share with others. So we'll use the mechanism of left and right in terms of our own self-worth this morning, and build in this process of national and world healing as these left voices and right voices go in every country of the world, not just America. So let's begin this process of loving ourselves by loving our hearts. Assume the position, assume the posture, as they say in television. Perhaps not quite this posture. Sit up straight, feet on the floor. Allow your spine to be erect, relaxing into this posture. And let's just spend a few moments loving our hearts this morning or this afternoon or evening, wherever we are in the world. And maybe you notice after just sitting with our hands on our heart for a minute or two, maybe you notice you can feel your heartbeat through your hands, or just feel it directly in your torso. Just notice what happens to your state, to the openness of your heart, to the quietness of your mind, just from sitting in this posture. It calls our attention to our hearts. And just let your hands down when you're ready. And in a similar vein, now let's love our respiratory system. Love our lungs, our bronchial tubes, our nasal passageways, every part of our breathing apparatus. All we're doing is we're noticing them. That's a way of loving them. And now let's shift our breathing pattern. Let's go to a full inhale and a full exhale. Traditionally, that means on our exhale, we pull our abdominal muscles all the way back towards our spine. A full inhale follows automatically. Slow, stately, majestic breath in and out. And again, just notice what your experience is. Compare it to when we first started talking politics. How has it shifted? What's your new condition, your new place, your new state? And now let's move into our classic heart rhythm meditation, connecting the rhythm of our heartbeat to the rhythm of our breathing. And I always like to invite the quality of gratitude to come in as we start this. What are we grateful for today? My natural gratitude, whenever I start this meditation like this, is appreciation for Paran and Susanna, and really for their whole line of teachers. Their main teacher was Pir Vilayat Inayat Khan, the son of Hazrat Inayat Khan, and the brother of Nurunisa Inayat Khan. And as I was first launching this Healing the Heart of America series, I was meditating on Nurunisa Inayat Khan. She showed up very, very clearly. Very clearly. She was a great proponent of liberty. The reason she became the spy princess, as she was known, she volunteered the British spy service to go back to France and send messages back about the state of preparation of the Nazis in France and that sort of a thing, state of the resistance. She did that out of a love for liberty. Not really a love for the British. She really wanted the British out of India. She didn't hate the British, but not for the English Empire. Just purely for the sake of liberty. She was caught and killed. A recognized war hero in both France and England to this day. So I give a nod of gratitude to her. When she was so present, she invited in the goddess of liberty. And you know, it's one thing to feel the presence of a being like Nurunisi Inayat Khan or Hazrat Inayat Khan like that. It's very powerful. It's a whole another level of vastness and power and grace to experience directly a divine quality, like the quality of liberty. I was like speechless internally, just stunned. just sort of nodded. And I asked if I should keep this blessing for this program, this Heart of Healing the Heart of America program, private. And I got a very clear no. Go ahead and express it. So I put it into the website thinking, whoa, what are people going to think when they read this? But I've got no blowback from it whatsoever. So that's where I go with gratitude this morning. So back to our heart rhythm meditation, inhaling to the count of 8 heartbeats, 6 or 10. Exhaling to the same basic rhythm, so that the inhale is equal to the exhale. Be sure to invite in your name for your heartbeat. And let's begin this process of breathing directly in and out of our hearts. The air keeps going in and out through our lungs and through our noses. The energy goes on the inhale directly into the heart. On the exhale, back out, blessing all of creation with the purity of our heart, with the divine intelligence within our heart, with the courage of our hearts. This simple breath allows our heart to be the connecting point between the infinity within us and the infinity outside of us. And just because it's a fabulous practice to do, let's move this into swinging breath, or simply in and out of the breath, back if you prefer. Just to get this forward dimension both directions, backward and forward. Connecting this great collection of beings behind us. The back of the heart is very sensitive. That's why we say they're behind this. They're really omnipresent, of course. But it's easy to sense them back there. The sensitivity of the back of our heart. A very vulnerable spot. It's where we can be stabbed in the back. That's the forward and the backward dimension of the heart. Let's just play a little bit with our width of our heart, the width and the breadth of our heart. And let's start by pulling in the inhale into our heart from the left side. Just sort of reach out as far as is comfortable for you. Maybe you can go all the way out to the horizon. Maybe not. And just inhale, filling up our heart from the left side. And exhale, allowing that energy to go out to the right. And come back. Reach way out. Inhale, fill up our heart from the left. Exhale out to the right. When we inhale on the left is our receiving side. So we're receiving the wisdom of the universe, filling our hearts up with that wisdom. We exhale, again, we are giving, sharing, expressing, pouring that intelligence of our heart out to the right. Another flavor of this axis, this left to right axis. As we inhale from the left, and the left represents our past, we breathe in our past, all the pain, the sorrow, all the victories, all of it is a gift to our present. We fill up our heart with this wisdom. And then we exhale out to the right our intentions into the future, our deep desires going forth into the future on the right side, all with the intention of enlivening and awakening the fulfillment of these desires, preparing the sacred path for these desires to be received and accepted and fulfilled. And again, welcoming up the past from the left, all that happened in our youth, in our childhood, in our elementary school, junior high, and high school, college, work career, however far back it goes, filling up our heart and exhaling, the heart transforming all that energy to fulfill the desires of our heart, sending them forward to prepare the soil for the blossoming of every desire of our heart. And some of us will like to turn this into a circle, where we connect the far ends in front of us. Maybe it's 6 feet in front of us, 3 feet, whatever that is. And as we inhale, we pull this energy in from the left around the circle. We exhale, the energy goes around, and we can allow anyone that we desire or any situation we desire to be in this circle. We can add all of our family members, our co-workers, our clients, or whatever it is. Just allow that flow, that circle of life, flowing in and out from the left, out to the right. The circle representing a oneness or connection. And just for the fun of it, could we expand this circle to include everyone who shares our political viewpoints, everyone who shares our spiritual perspective? And how big does this circle become? And it may be a little bit more challenging, but I would invite you to include everyone who has a different spiritual perspective. A circle of love. Could we allow ourselves to open up and love everyone and connect everyone on a different path, in a different religion? Would we rather include them or would we rather exclude them? And is it okay? If it's not okay, I understand. But could you allow this circle of love to expand and include those with different political perspectives? And we look in the history of this country, really of the world, and recognize that there are always those with different political perspectives. And which would we rather do? Which would feel better? To hate them, to reject them, or to love them? It's your choice. It's always our choice. And if it's too much to love them, would it be okay with us to simply acknowledge them, notice them, and let them be? Allow ourselves to be neutral to them. And always pull up our ideals of love, harmony, beauty, whatever your ideals are. Bring them up into our hearts. Drop them into the ocean of love and move on. So now let's move to the upper and lower dimensions, the upward and downward dimensions of our heart. Let's start by exhaling and going down, down, down. As far down into the earth, through the earth to the far extremes of the universe. And as we inhale, bring that dimension of the heart back up, filling our heart. Then exhale, move the energy up to the farthest heavens. If the energy only goes up a few inches, that's perfect. You're doing this perfectly. And then inhale, bring the energy back down. Fill up the heart, and then exhale down through the body, through the earth, to the far depth of creation. Just continue this up and down. Even if we're just doing it with our imagination, we end up stretching our energetic body. The imagination can lead the way and the energy will follow. Maybe not perfectly at first, but eventually it follows, because what is normal for us is an infinite energetic body. That is our normal state of being, our normal state of energy, infinitely expanded in every one of these directions. As we go down, the qualities of the depth of our heart, the compassion, the caring, the deep, deep love, they become enlivened. Our forgiveness, our kindness. We inhale back up, we pull these qualities, these universal qualities, fill up our heart with them. And as we reach back up, exhaling, up to the very heights, the qualities of inspiration, clarity, insight, openness, tolerance, freedom, all become enlivened. And now let's just connect to our heartbeat if you've lost it and all that. The ideal is to do all that with the heartbeat. I know it's easy to get lost at times, but you always want to come back to the heartbeat. Because we're exploring our heart center today, the invitation is, after we've expanded out in every dimension, let's expand into our internal dimension of our heart. So whatever works for you, let's just allow ourselves to move into that infinite inverted space within us, where we move in and suddenly we get this sense of vastness. For me, I find it between my heart and my solar plexus. It seems to expand and just open up my whole lower torso, and then expand upward. However it works for you. And if this doesn't happen for you, please do not worry. Just set the intention, move there in your imagination, and don't worry about it. What's going on is perfect for you. Perfect for you. And it's very important that we honor and love ourselves wherever we are. Just move into that expansiveness. Check to see that you might be experiencing that all of creation is in that inner space. All that is and all that is not. It's a wonderful saying from the Upanishads, speaking about the little place in the heart. And it says, the sun is there, the moon is there, the earth, the wind, the lightning. All that is and all that is not is there in that little place in the heart. And he is there, say, and she is there in that little place in the heart. It's really beautiful, isn't it? That's what we open up to as we explore this heart center today. And be sure to come back to the heartbeat. So now as we explore our heart, let's take it out into the world. And just explore, when am I not loving? What is it that triggers me, that keeps me from loving? And ask the other side of this, or the more explicit way to do this is to say, what's irritating me? Notice when you are irritated, the volume of love tends to decrease. When we're frustrated, when we're hating, when we're ranting, when we're condemning, when we're judging, how much love we have diminishes. And could you just take a moment to notice the cost of condemning, judging, the cost of separating ourselves from other people? What does it cost you? What do you experience rather than love? And which would you prefer? So take a moment and think about becoming all loving. Sounds wonderful. But what's your first thought or feeling when you make the claim, I'm going to become all loving? A lot of you, a lot of us will say, well, yeah, I just don't know how to do it. Or, yeah, that hasn't worked. Or, yeah, nice goal, but I don't know how to do it. And that's just the right response. Some of us will say, I don't want to become all loving because people will abuse me, take advantage of me. Being all loving means I can't say no. That's a big one, isn't it? So, when you take up your first thought or feeling, whatever it is, about being all loving, can you just welcome that resistance? Would you welcome it some more? And just to explore this at a very deep level. Is that your lacking safety and security feeling that's behind that thought? Or could it be your lacking love and approval? A desperate sense of wanting to be loved, to be heard. Is that behind that thought? Or is that wanting to control, that lacking out of control feeling behind that thought? If we can address the root issues, the transformation is all the more powerful. So whatever's behind it, or if you just want to take that thought or feeling, that's okay. Could you just be with it? Could you just love it? Could you just acknowledge this is an energy within you that needs to be heard? And make the choice either to hold on to it for our protection, for our safety, for our motivation, or to simply let that go. So let's do this again. When you think about being all loving, what's another thought or feeling that comes up? Just to give us the opportunity to work with a different energy within us. Whatever that energy that comes up, whatever that resistance that comes up, that concern, that not knowing, can you see it's just a thought or a feeling? Just representing a pool of energy within us that is wanting to be healed, wanting to be transformed. Would it be okay with you if you just welcome that up? Pull that energy into your heart. And let your heart transform that. I'll just say into love. To allow us to become more loving. And more loving. Just say yes. Every time we're saying yes, we're giving an instruction to our body, ego, and mind that this is the direction of our life. And they will begin to support that direction rather than fight it. That'd be okay with you if your body and your mind and your ego support you in the desires of your heart. Would it be okay with you if the desires of your heart take a natural priority over the desires of your ego and mind? I think so. I think so. So now let's squeeze the lemon up about being all loving. To imagine that we are all loving, that our hearts are fully open. What does that look like? Let's get a picture of that. Have we all become a Mother Teresa? Have we all become a Jesus Christ? And we made that promise to us. All this you shall do and even more. Shall we all become, and fill in the blank for the master of your ideal master. And just feeling this being all-loving, incredible being. Most of us will be perfectly happy to be that. Say, yeah, that's great. But just check again for any resistance. Are you worthy of being the embodiment of love? Are you worthy of being all loving? I feel a sinking of the energy with that one. So let's just start there. Would it be okay with you if you allowed yourself to be equal to everyone else on your spiritual path? You may say, yeah, but some people can breathe longer or hold their breath longer or this or that, or they can dive in more deeply in their meditations, or they're just more integrated than I am, or whatever it is. Yes, thank goodness for that. Can we be grateful that there are people who have more developed spiritual skills than we do? Can we be grateful that more highly evolved beings have moved before us and are there teaching us the way? Yes, you can all go grateful for that. The equality I'm asking from you, could you allow yourself to be equal to everyone else on the path that you've been on? Could you allow yourself to be equal to your teacher? Check your resistance to that. All the reasons that your teacher is better than you are. I get it. I can see it. And are you not equally an expression of the divine? I would say yes to that. Do you not have a heart that opens up and reflects the deep spiritual blueprint the soul was imprinted on you at the beginning of your creation? Does not everyone on your path have that? Could you allow yourself to be equal to everyone on your path? Could you allow yourself to be equal to everyone on a spiritual path? And can you allow everyone on all these other spiritual paths to be equal to you? Perhaps you can notice, by allowing everyone to be equal to you, you start to move into a natural humility. It's a very wonderful place, humility. There's nothing to prove. There's no need to be better than anyone else. Could you imagine your life without that? Wanting to establish who you are, prove your worth. What a burden that is. Can you feel that burden? Always having to prove you're good enough. Always having to prove we are worthy. And to whom are we trying to prove that we are worthy, that we're good enough? Sort of falls apart when you ask it that way, doesn't it? Could you let everyone be equal to yourself? Could you let everyone, could you let yourself be equal to everyone? On a spiritual path, off a spiritual path, it doesn't matter. Could you allow them to be equal to you? Could you allow yourself to be equal to them? The fact that someone is a master piano player means they have a skill that we don't have, perhaps. But does it mean they are better than we are? On the very deep level of who we are, I don't think it does. Could you allow yourself to be equal spiritually to everyone? Now let's go back to this vision of being all loving. Could you allow yourself to be all loving? Could you allow yourself to be all loving and still say no when that's appropriate? When that might be the most loving thing to do? Could you allow yourself to be all loving and still use your common sense? When you look at the various masters who have inspired you, various teachers, various divine beings, would you say they were all loving? Did people take advantage of them? I don't think so. I think from their perspective, they were delighted to be used. Would it be okay with us if we loved ourselves enough that we could become all loving, even more all loving? And take a moment over here on the other side. Imagine never, ever, ever becoming all loving. When I'm feeling so much love, I'm not even reacting to that. Or just let that be. Could we be at peace with whatever level of loving we have mastered, we have attained? Yes. Could we just love ourselves for whatever level of spiritual development we have? And now let's go and take this out to the world. We're still post-election. Could we allow now this election to go forward and ourselves to stay perfect love? Say going forward, we allow whatever recounts are there. We allow all the harsh comments by the commentators back and forth. The energy between the left and right. would it be okay with us if we hold the presence of love within us and let that spill out into this great left-right divide? All the while, free to use our own discrimination to favor whatever policies we favor. And yet, at the same time, is it okay with us if we claim a love so deep that we bless left and right, blue and red, America and the world, our own country and the world? Would that be okay with us? We are the ones who hold the flame of love for the world. And with that vision, with that ideal, let's begin the process of bringing this meditation to a close. Present in our body, feeling our heartbeat, feet on the floor. Just explore what's possible in your world today. What's going on in your day that you can bring the great blessing of love, the great blessing of your open heart. Just do that little walk through your day. Who are you going to meet? Who will you speak with? What tasks do you have to do? Can you do those tasks with love? How would that feel? Who do you eat with? What do you eat? Could you bring love to the food that you eat? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Can you bring love to your sleep? Love to your entertainment? Love to your work? Love to your family and friends? And just whenever it's comfortable, take a moment, open up your eyes. Thank you for joining us today. That ends the formal part of our class. And as you come out of meditation, just be gentle with yourself. Is there some gain you'd like to share, or question, or something you'd like to work on, something you're stirred up with? It can be faint, it can be strong, it doesn't matter. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, and thank you so much. Wow. So a gain I have is when we were moving dimension left to right. I just noticed the last few weeks in my meditation, my exhale has been shorter, not making it wrong, loving what it is. But today I could really feel a smooth exhale going out the right. It's been weeks.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
Yes. Very cool. Very cool. And it's funny what a simple thing our breath is. And yet
Mhm.
it just is such a mirror for what's going on inside of us. So that smooth steadiness, you'll just start to notice this, Bobby, and for everyone else, that will start to show up more in your life, in your expression. It just works that way. That's a big gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes. And something I like to work with is even though I'm not feeling resistant in the moment, um, some pride came up for me during the meditation, not making others wrong. And again, in my daily life, I caretake my 90-year-old um, Trump supporting mother-in-law and haven't seen her in a couple of days intentionally. So I'm going over today to help to help her some surgery dressings. And I'm less resistant, but I'm bracing myself just enough. And thank you for hearing that, you guys, because now some sadness is coming up.
Yes.
And I just, wherever there's any resistance, for me to feel like I'm separate to anything.
So Bobby, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Always have such a clear and tender expression. That phrase, bracing yourself, that's a fabulous phrase. Can you and everyone else, what do you have? Where does it show up that you have to brace yourself to deal with something, to gird up your armor, so to speak? So, Bobby, can you get in touch with that feeling?
Yes.
Yes. Now, do you notice that feeling, that inner energetic experience? And I'm guessing, but you tell me what it is. I'm guessing you're doing that to protect yourself.
Yes.
That's really the bracing is really like a putting on the armor, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yes. So that feeling, that habit, can you see that's just a habit?
Yes.
Yes. You don't really know what's going to happen. You may have a good idea, but you don't really know what's going to happen when you go to see your mother-in-law, do you?
No.
Do you ever have wonderful interactions with your mother-in-law?
Yes.
Yes. So you could brace yourself up and go have a wonderful interaction, right?
Yes.
And can you see at that point that maybe that wasn't the smartest thing to have done?
Yes.
Didn't need it necessarily. Sometimes you, but let me ask you another question. When you are attacked, does your energetic body know how to defend itself?
My ego energetic body does.
Yeah,
It's just the ego.
right. So you don't need to do it beforehand, do you?
No.
No. Would it be okay with you if every time you found yourself, and now that you say, by the way, by expressing it, we all get clearer with it, okay? It's a gift you bring to us. Everyone, can you notice where we do this? Bobby, is it okay with you if you now take this as a spiritual practice that when you find yourself bracing to protect yourself, that it's safe to let that go?
Yes.
Do you allow yourself to be safe even if you don't brace up for an encounter?
Yes.
Yes. And can just on the level of discrimination, can you see that when you brace up, that energetically you are sending a message to the other person that there's going to be a battle here?
Yes.
See that, don't you? I know. I see. I very clear to me. And is that the message you want to send?
No.
No, no. So could you take this as a wonderful gift from your body that says, I still have some fear energy here. I still have some lacking safety energy here. And I'd love this to be healed.
Yes.
That's what bracing says, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. That's how you're. Is it okay with you if your higher wisdom sees it that way?
Yes.
Yes. And so could you feel that bracing energy and just be with it? Everyone else do the same thing. Can you just be with it? Love it? Yes. And would it be okay with you if instead of telegraphing a message to your mother-in-law that, you know, differences are arising, if you send your mother-in-law some love and approval?
Yes.
Yes. Could you send her some more love and approval?
Yes.
And more love and approval?
Yes.
And more love and approval?
Yes.
Yes. And how do you feel right now?
Quiet.
Yes. Would it be okay with you if you lived in this quietness 24/7?
Yes.
Yes. And let me ask you, just again on the level of discrimination, when you approach your mother-in-law with quietness, is it less likely or more likely you'll have a smooth interaction?
More likely to be smooth.
Yes. So would it be okay with you if every time before you go to see your mother-in-law that you let go of disapproving of her and give her
Yeah.
love and approval?
Yes.
And we come back to your mother-in-law is really volunteering to be your spiritual teacher, right?
Absolutely.
She's there being this nasty woman. So I'm exaggerating there. I'm sure she's not that nasty, but being this, opinionated, judgmental, self-righteous person, just so you can move into your heart. Can you
Yeah.
see what a sacrifice she's making? Yeah. I heard the story once that someone, went to their teacher, and the teacher had a great deal of clairvoyance. And, she said, I hate walking by homeless people who hit me up for money. And there's one guy in particular who does it, sits, right outside my business. And the teacher said to him, that person incarnated just to give you an opportunity to move into love. Ooh, that was a nice sigh there. Could you be open to the possibility that your mother-in-law or whoever it is in our own lives for everyone else contracted with us, volunteering to be that person who will help us move into love? It'd be okay with you if you looked at her through this vision, through these eyes of the heart?
Yes.
Yes, yes. And check to see if you're beating yourself up for having had all these feelings. Is there any of that remaining still?
No.
No, good. Anyone else, if you're beating yourself up for your old patterns, the invitation is to welcome that up. Love where you are right now. So, Bobby, could you allow your mother-in-law to be equal to you?
Yes.
Yes. Could you allow yourself to be equal to your mother-in-law?
Yes.
Yes. Could you allow both of you to be exquisite spiritual beings having a human experience?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you feel about going to visit your mother-in-law today?
Bring
Nice.
it on.
Get on. There we go. There we go.
Namaste.
Namaste. And is it okay with you if you have to go through this process again and again? Yeah,
As Lester Levinson says, as long as it takes.
as long as it takes. There you go. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Bobby.
Thank you, everybody.
Anyone else?
Good evening, good morning to you, actually, Steve. It's evening here. This is Tara here. How are you?
Oh, welcome all of India today.
Thank you.
You're the voice of that beautiful country, Tara. And
Thank you.
how are you
I
today?
have a little game today.
Okay.
I had excruciating pain in my neck and shoulder, and I forgot to release on it. And I suddenly thought this morning, oh, I can release on it. I did that, and the pain is gone 90%.
Wow.
It's a small gain, but it's a gain.
That's not a small gain. That's a 90% gain. That's a big gain.
But yeah, okay, well, it's a small issue, but anyway, it's a gain.
So
Like, yes,
Tara,
yes,
so would it be okay with you if all gains were equal?
yes.
Yeah.
Good
And
idea.
it's a good idea, isn't it?
Yes.
And how how loving is it when you minimize a gain?
So I didn't understand that.
So let me ask you a question. When you minimize your gain like that,
Oh, you're giving it less love.
yeah, so you're giving it more love or you're giving it less love?
Then that's true. I'm giving it less love. I never thought of that.
Would it be okay with you if you just welcomed up every gain and accepted it as a great gift?
Yes.
Yes. And let me ask you, let's say you have a gain of $1 and you say, yeah, it's a small gain. So is that likely to encourage more gains like that or not so likely to encourage more gains like that?
Well, it's not likely to encourage more because you're not loving it.
Right. So would it be okay with you if you just move into a space of loving every gain, no matter how big or small it is?
Yes. Thank you so much for letting me think that way.
And everyone else can we do the same thing? And Tara, do you notice that when you appreciate a gain, you feel better yourself?
Yes. And you allow more gains to happen.
Yes, and you allow more gains to happen. Oh, now in India, there's this great tradition of going to a master and ask, you see it in all the old epics, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these things where people will go to a guru and they'll ask for a blessing, and the guru, in the movies, the guru always raises her hand and gives this great blessing. So that's a great process, isn't it, Tara?
Yes.
Great for the person getting the blessing. It's great for the master giving the blessing. So would you all be willing to be the one who gives the blessing? Would that be okay with you? Would you allow yourself to be worthy of being the one who gives a blessing? Is that okay with you, Tara?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, did you not give us a blessing by speaking up this morning or this evening? Can you see that, Tara? You gave us a blessing,
And I'm getting a blessing.
and you're getting a blessing, both.
Yeah.
Is it okay with you, Tara, if you're the one who gives a blessing?
Yes.
Any resistance to that?
Sorry?
Is there any resistance to the
No,
being the
no,
one?
no.
Good,
No, it's the principle of
good.
getting and the principle of sharing,
Yes,
like it applies to everything else.
good. So can everyone else, can you go to the place where you are worthy to be the one giving a blessing? Just say yes to that. Could you allow yourself to be worthy of the one who gives a blessing?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And allow yourself to be worthy of the one who receives a blessing.
Yes.
Yes. Would it be okay with us, okay with you, Tara, if your life becomes a life of giving and receiving blessings?
Yes.
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 It's a picture, isn't it?
Yes.
And can we see every interaction right now that we tend to judge, and we like some, we don't like some, this and that? Would it be okay with us if we shifted into our hearts, saw everything that happened to us as a blessing? Everything we do is our way of blessing everyone else. So Tara, is it okay with you if everything you do becomes a blessing?
Yes, of course.
Good. And anyone feeling any resistance? Because a feeling came up in me that, well, some of the things I do are not blessings to people. And can you welcome up that feeling if you have that? And can you really know that's true? So Bobby's mother-in-law, when she starts tentative about Donald Trump and promoting him, she may not, she may not feel that's a blessing, but for Bobby, it is. Opportunity for her to move, to love, into her heart.
Yes.
Not asking you to, or suggesting that this is an opportunity to do whatever you want to do that's going to hurt people. Not at all. I'm asking everyone to be open to reframing your life.
Beautiful words.
The
Reframing
change,
your
yes,
beautiful.
it changes our image and our self-worth. It moves us into being that great spiritual being having a human experience. Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you, Steve. Can I ask you one question? I've always wanted to know one thing. And when Larry says, before eating something, when you go to the fridge, before picking up the candy bar, release on it. How do
Yeah.
you release on it?
Okay, that's a good question. This is, so just to give background for everyone else, Larry Crane was one of the teachers of the release technique, this emotional intelligence program I was involved with before. Still I am, actually, not formally with the organization, but the premise is, like, for weight loss or for your health, if you want to change your diet, what you do is, before you eat anything, you release on it. So Tara's asking, pick up a candy bar, release on it. So Tara, here's what I'd do. I'd say you have that candy bar in your hand, and what do you like about that candy bar, Tara?
Oh, everything. I love chocolate.
Yes, good. So that loving, craving, delightful feeling, welcome that feeling up. And would it be okay with you if you let that feeling go so you can experience what's beneath that feeling? Good. And when you look at that candy bar, what do you dislike about it?
I'm afraid it might, go to my tummy. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, all sorts of problems. So can you welcome up all those feelings, that fear, that dislike, that concern, and exactly the same process? Could you love those feelings? Let them go to experience what's underneath them. You might go back and forth in that way a few times. What do you like? What do you dislike? What's the advantage to eating it? What's the disadvantage to eating it? Until you have, and do it quickly, a minute or so, something like that, till you have a sense of peace about whether or not you should eat that. And then you just ask your heart, do I really want it? And so you tap into your body wisdom and you follow it, whatever the answer is. If it says eat it, then you eat it. If you don't, then don't. But in this process, heal the energies, we heal the wounds, and we tap into the deep wisdom of our heart. That makes sense?
Yes.
Candy bar becomes just like Bobby's mother-in-law, teacher.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Tara. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes if someone wants to share a gain or anything else, or we could just go home and have our candy bars, our mother-in-laws, and totally revel in the extraordinary diversity of life, all the opportunities for spiritual growth that we thought were problems in our lives and instead are now just opportunities.
Hi, Stephen. It's Eileen.
Hi, Eileen. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
Good. Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this for everyone, for all of us.
Yes.
During the virus, I was renting a house and the people had to move back in. And so I was looking for a place where I lived and nothing was turning up. And the day I was putting my furniture and everything in storage, a friend called me, invited me to come to Vancouver Island and spend some time with her. And that's where I am at the moment. And it's having a much deeper level of what I feel like I've been called to let go of all the outside security.
Yes.
And totally, it feels like this is a call to totally trust in the inner, totally, without
Yes.
knowing anything more than that.
Perfect.
And of course, the mind wants to go into trying to figure it out. But I feel like what I'd like to work with is be so deeply trusting and being one with the qualities of the love and the peace, that nothing on the outside matters. It's going to come out of the consciousness of that peace, of the oneness.
Yes.
So
Eileen, good. And thank you so much for bringing this up. So we may run a little late. People are free to leave. But Eileen, can you get in touch with this sense of homelessness?
yes.
Okay, that somehow the universe is not taking care of you. that you do not have your safe home that you've always been used to having. Can you welcome up that feeling?
Yes.
Can you see that it's just a feeling?
Yes.
And when I say it that way, all I'm really saying is, can you see you're bigger than that feeling?
Yes, when I don't think.
That's right. That's right. Would it be okay with you if you see this from the eyes of your heart?
Yes.
Yes. And everyone else, find some challenge in your life where you feel like the world and the universe is not supporting you the way you want to be supported. You know, what's happening that isn't going the way you want it to go, and why is this? And do you notice there's a flavor of being a victim of the universe here?
Yeah, it's I see two parallel roads. One is the duality road, and the other is the the road where of the divine, where everything is already perfect and it's already all there.
Beautiful. Which road would you like to take?
Well, the divine, yes.
Good. So the way we do that is we let go of the energy, we heal the energy on the other route, and it makes it possible to naturally shift into the path of oneness. Okay?
Hmm.
So can you welcome up this sense of being betrayed by the universe?
Somehow I don't feel like I'm being betrayed. It just feels like a lot of programs that
Okay,
are
good.
running. Yeah.
Can you welcome up this feeling that all these programs are running rather than your true self running, your heart?
Yes.
Good. And do you like all these programs?
No.
No, no. So could you welcome up that disliking? Does the disliking make the programs go away, by the way?
No.
Yeah. So all these programs, these patterns that are running inside of you, could you let go of that disliking quality?
Yes.
And could you let go of that disliking even more
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a feeling of wanting them to get rid of them.
Yeah. And how
Mhm.
loving is that?
No.
Right. Not at all, is it?
No.
Would it be okay if you looked at these patterns and realized that they're patterns you've developed to deal with the world over the course of time?
Yes.
Yes. So you've developed them and now you want to discard them. Okay.
Hmm.
And is it okay with you if you change that perspective to be more loving about it?
Yes.
Yes. Would it be okay with you if these patterns simply shifted to be more in alignment with the quality of trust?
Yes.
Yes. So could you allow that decision again, that it's okay for these patterns to exist and it's okay for them to become more trusting?
Yes.
Yes. And is it all right with you if it takes time for this trust to develop?
Yes.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And really, don't these patterns solve a lot of challenges for you in your life?
I don't know what you mean.
So something comes up and you just know automatically how to handle it,
Right. Yes.
right?
Yeah,
So
they've
they
been teachers, they've been, yeah.
teach you, and they do a lot of the grunt work in your life,
Hmm.
okay? And they give you a lot of freedom because of that. Would it be okay with you if you live in this path of oneness, this path of the heart, so to speak, the path of beingness, And all these patterns supported you in that.
Yes.
Yes. So could you give them some love and approval? These patterns, these programs?
Yes, because that's what they want. That's what I'm feeling they want.
Yes, they want that.
Yeah.
And we both know that by beating them up, they're not going to change. They're just going to become defensive because we all do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you give them some love and approval
Yes.
and more love and approval?
Yes.
And as you fill them with love, are they less likely or more likely to support you and allowing you to move into complete trust?
It's like they dissolve into being love, which they are at their essence. That's what it's feeling like.
Nice. Could you allow that even more?
Yeah.
Could you allow that even more?
Yes.
And right now, how trusting are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. It feels open.
Nice. How safe do you feel?
Great.
Okay. I'll take that as a good place to stop then.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everyone.
And Eileen, this is the first time I've seen your face.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you like this.
Thank you.
All right, my friends. Tomorrow, the throat. And you know, the quality of this throat is sacredness. So I'm inviting everyone to join us. And my intention is we have a very sacred experience together tomorrow. Honestly, been pretty sacred every day so far. But many blessings. God bless us all, and we'll see you tomorrow.
To everybody. Thank you.
Very much, Stephen.
Yes, thank you guys.